It's 1 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Respect everyone's time. Thank you for those who have jumped on to our September webinar. So today, again, we're going to speak about how to maximize your footprint with some different things that you can do in your caption with tagging and emojis and different things like that. So our roadmap for the day is we'll do some quick introductions, and then we'll do some platform differences, touch on that, and then really get into the meat of things with the branding and the caption strategies and common language that our guest uses at his school. So again, for those who have joined, but if those who are not, my name is Thomas Frederickson. I'm a 18-year coach, 12-year athletic director. I'm a certified master athletic administrator through the NIAAA, and currently working with Box Out as their customer success and Box Out U director. So appreciate everyone jumping on, and there's my information, my email, and my Twitter tags. But without further ado, we'll get to our guest today and let him introduce himself.
How are you guys doing? My name is Alex Johnson. I'm currently the athletic administrator for Bayless High School in St. Louis, Missouri. This is my first year here in Bayless, but I'm from here, and so it's good to be home. Prior to coming here, I was in Clinton, Missouri for 2 years as the district activities director. Prior to that, I was the district athletic director for Socorro High School in Socorro, New Mexico. And then my first, I guess, 6 years or so, 5 years were teaching, coaching, physical education, history, and then basketball, football, and track. So I'm in year 11, so I've got a decade under my belt in the profession. And yeah, I'm excited. Love partnering with Freddie. Box Out has been an absolute game changer for our school. And I actually started using it last year in Clinton, which connected Freddie and myself probably via over tagging, but that's all right because it worked out. And now I get to share about what a great product it is. And not only that, just what I literally, Freddie, I meant to tell you this yesterday. I had a kid come into my office and he said, "Man, this is the best exposure our school's ever had. Like, this is the most school spirit." I'm a little torn because my current principal was the AD before, and he's phenomenal. But he would admit to you that social media is not his thing. And I said, "Okay, so what do you mean by that? Because Mr. Lawrence is the best." And I'm like, "Oh no, it's not him. It's just the fact that you like your social media graphics make us feel like we're at a big school."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you can get a better compliment than that. So, anyways, that's me. And yeah, there's my information too. There is a one at the end of Bayless AD, just so you guys know. So, but besides that,
Yep.
you can reach me for anything. Thanks for having me, bud.
Yep. Sorry, I guess I missed that one. So
You don't miss much, so it's all good.
nah, so we yeah, it's always a good compliment when you hear that, and that's the kind of the whole thing is, we want ADs and coaches and SIDs to be able to put out stuff and learn about things. That's why we do these webinars and Box Out U,
Yep.
to be able to enhance the student experience. Right. That's the goal is to make the students have the best experience possible.
Amen.
So as we dive in, okay, we're going to just touch on the differences between the big three. Again, we know there's more out there, but we're just going to kind of touch on the big three and kind of what we see with that. Because again, to make a footprint on social media, you need to make sure you know who your audience is that you're speaking with. So on Instagram, I would say Instagram, the biggest audience on Instagram is students. So making sure that, especially if it's an announcement that students need to hear, whether it's a theme night or maybe it's a free night or some type of theme or discount or whatever that the students are getting, or interest meeting or whatever, making sure that is making sure that's on Instagram first and foremost for myself, because that's where the students live. So again, you've got other advantages with stories versus posts and highlights. You can put videos on there. You do have an actual length, but the biggest thing I wanted to touch on with Instagram is that's where the students live. Alex, you got anything else that you want to chime in with Instagram?
No, I couldn't agree more. That's definitely where, Bayless did not have an Instagram athletic account prior to, and the amount of followers we got just from the first couple weeks. I mean, we're in the hundreds already, and I know that'll only grow. So agreed.
The next one is kind of our generation one, right? The Facebook. So your audience at Facebook is your families and your community. right? So if you want to get an announcement out about a community night or a community event or something that for the families to get in touch with, that's where you want to make sure that you're hitting on Facebook, making sure that the community knows what's going on. Again, you still have stories versus posts. I love the unlimited photo and unlimited video storage that Facebook has. I mean, I dump a ton of photos of my athletes on our Facebook account, and and then use the other social media accounts to direct them to my Facebook account, so they can see the photos, and parents can steal pictures and all that from our photographers and videographers if you have one. And then the biggest thing that I've used, besides the photos with Facebook is Facebook Live, right? When everything shut down and we started streaming games, right? I didn't go with the other softwares. I went with Facebook Live because I wanted everybody to come to my social media account, right?
Yep.
I wanted everyone to come to Facebook. That way they can see what's going on at my school and things that are happening with my athletes and teams. And again, that just kind of helped the blueprint there. Anything to add?
Yeah, just I've just noticed, like if we just got Huddle, the AD package, for example, and that's going to really open up our streaming services with Huddle TV. And so, you see all these fake links for streaming. And so Facebook's been the best place, especially for questions like that. And then to be able to publicize that with a box out graphic just amplifies the presence. So same thing.
And then the last one we're going to touch on is Twitter, or now known as X. And the biggest thing with Twitter is the audience is going to be your other schools, your associations, your state, your national associations, colleges, different coaches like that. That's going to be kind of who mainly sits on Twitter. You'll have some athletes that are on there for trying to recruiting purposes and things like that. But finding other schools, other coaches, having them know what's going on, have your state associations knows what's going on, and maybe organizations, all the outsiders, as one school called it, all your outside people are kind of on Twitter. And again, real easy to like and repost things on there. You can have polls and analytics, but just making sure that you're aware that if you're doing a lot of Twitter posts, a lot of your outsiders may be seeing it, but your quote unquote insiders are going to be Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah. And to add to that too, it's also really good for live updates for sports. So like if I don't have, box outs really quick and it's fast to make a graphic, but if I'm just, following a basketball game and we're in a tight contest, I'll definitely keep it there. And I do have some parents who they follow our Twitter account literally just for live updates too. Just something to add.
Yep. So good. So, like I say, I know there's other ones like TikTok, and I know some athletic departments have dabbled in that. I have not personally, but I think that's kind of a way to go as well, to make sure that you're reaching the kids and the parents that are on TikTok. My rule of thumb: if I put it on one, I'm putting it on all three of them.
Yep.
So that way I make sure I hit everybody that needs to know the information. So the first kind of topic we're going to type into is branding. Right? If you want to have a good footprint on your social media, it starts with your brand. So I'm gonna kind of let Alex take this one and explain kind of what branding means to him and his footprint on his social media and why it's important.
Yeah, so again, just talking about how, your school has a logo, your school has a crest, your school has a mission, a vision. First of all, if you don't know what those are, then you need to get in the game, because those are things that like for me, for example, in St. Louis, the entire St. Louis community needs to know about Bayless. I grew up in St. Louis. I went to Lafayette High School, which is about 40 minutes away from here. I did not know Bayless existed. And until the early 2000s, like 2010, when our assistant superintendent Mike Hawkins took over. The reason for that was that branding was not important. So I will say this: like right here, you see our academic crest. I ordered Scholar Bowl polos today with our Under Armour deal with BSN, and that's going on our polo. And I mean, that's literally walk around branding there. But on social media, I also have been handed over posting for the previous post. You saw the academic crest, and then also Bayless, and then also what Freddie was just showing you, the elementary and the pre-elementary. It's also consistent from all the way down to early childhood to high school. And so you have our baby, Bronco, you have our middle range, I guess, junior high Bronco, and then on the last slide you have our high school Bronco, and then the Bayless logo. So I guess the biggest point I'm going with is, when you have a toolbox of these things, the colors are consistent, the logo is consistent, the imagery is consistent, and when you are posting, it's really not negotiable. Like Clinton, where I was before Bayless, it was an absolute nightmare when I got there because there were 16 different Cardinals running around, and so that to me created confusion. We had a giant C that looked like the Cleveland Cavaliers on our floor at the middle school gym. We had the Louisville Cardinal on t-shirts, like it. And again, it's to each his own, but like if you are really, like Freddie was saying about using Twitter, if you really want people to know who you are, you have to know what they're looking for. Like I can't tell you how many times I've been searching on Twitter, and it's very easy for me to find a school if they use a consistent logo for like their AD page, right? And when they don't do that, I won't tag them, and if I don't tag them, then they're not getting exposure, and then it's a layered effect. So that's obviously the Bayless way to do things, and I would encourage anybody else to just make sure that you really funnel down your attention on one logo, a crest for your school, and then also the colors being consistent, so people know what they're looking for when you post your stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. Both Alex and I, both our schools are green and gold.
Yep.
Now my gold is a little more yellow
Yes.
than his, and my green's a little more brighter
Yeah.
green than Bayless's. But
Mm-hmm.
and then what pretty much what that means is, right, I don't want to use Bayless's color scheme, right? That's
Nope.
not our green and our gold, and then vice versa, right? Bayless is not the brighter green and the brighter yellow. And if you don't have a set guideline, a set handbook, then your coaches, your community, or whatever, like I said, they're going to go out and buy a shirt and put a bright yellow hoof on it for Bayless, right? They're going to put have the main bright yellow in the Bronco, and that's not the colors.
Nope.
And so just making sure. Yes, it's a little nitpicky, but like Alex said, is when other schools are looking for your stuff, or when people are scrolling through the social media, or if they're even on the news, if news and newspapers cover your events, that way when they see your logo, they're able to say, hey, that is Bayless, or hey, that is from my school, Rudolph Gordon. And so making sure that that's a very important thing. And like I said, we're actually have a whole class on that starting this month with branding handbook that we'll kind of discuss at the end. But if you don't have a brand, to start your footprint, really that first step, right, in your footprint needs to be, let's lock down our brand, lock down who we are, just not your colors and your logo, but like you
Yep.
said, your mission, your motto, your different things like that, because they all have to be consistent. They all go together.
Yep. Especially in smaller districts, right? Like, I mean, both of our schools, they're not huge, they're not super small, but I mean, we have a golden opportunity to really cover K through 12, so.
Yep. And so this is Alex's baby with his tag, and he kind of mentioned it earlier. That's kind of how we got in touch with each other, because we were just getting tagged by this random AD all the time, and his stuff was great, so we kind of reached out and linked up. But I'm gonna let him kind of explain why he thinks it's very important to add everything that he adds to his post, right? It's not just the picture is great, right? We need the picture for
Mhm.
people to stop, right? We want thumb stoppers, as we say. When people are scrolling through Facebook, we need the graphic to catch people's eyes and stop. But just not the graphic is really not enough if you want your footprint to be as big as possible. So I'm gonna let him kind of dive into all the different things that he does.
Yeah, and so there's actually quite a few components all in one here. Obviously you see Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, X, just like what we were talking about earlier, the multiple platforms. And then there's the consistency in message. So you'll see if you follow any of my programs, I have two formats. If it's a quick post and I'm just giving information, then it'll have the three the three, alert, 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 red things at the top. And then underneath that, it'll have, a stadium emoji, a pin for location, a clock for time, ticket information, etc. So that is like, hey, I got to get this out there. We got a game today. Here's all the information you need to know. But the big piece of it is, as you can see, the accounts here. There's Bayless Varsity Cheer. Misha Org is our state association. Bayless SSD is our Bayless school district. And then there's some other various ones in there. And really, guys, what's important for me on this is that every single time you tag another account, you are giving them an opportunity to look at your stuff. And if you do not tag another account, they might love your stuff and they don't know what's going out there. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I follow all of the accounts that I tag in these, and I love what they put out there, but they don't ever tag me. And if I haven't looked at Twitter for a couple of hours, I hit the, most recent and it'll scroll right past everything that they posted. So, I will say there's a little bit of etiquette on there. I've actually been asked to not tag someone before, like, hey, we get it, you're good at your job. And that's fine. I would rather be told you're an over tagger than people not knowing that we exist. Because again, Freddie made the best point possible. Everything we do is platform our kids. And if we are platforming our kids, I know it takes an extra minute on my post. It would be very simple for me to just put the graphic out there. Quite frankly, at the end of the day, though, I don't think that we can afford in our day and age to not take that extra minute to tag all these accounts. Because I will say, like, the Bronquettes is our dance crew. Bayless SSD, like I said, it's our school district. Bayless Varsity Cheer, like all of them, they almost always repost or post to their story. And then like Misha, Misha won't always repost what I put, but I've been reposted by Misha, and you're reaching the entire state with that. And then again, I'm not someone who's always looking to network. Like, I like to be very intentional in my conversations, when we're face to face, one on one. But literally, Freddie and I would not have met if it wasn't for tagging. So, to summarize very simply, if the goal is to get your kids exposure, you're doing yourself a disservice if you are not tagging at least the immediate audience around you. So for us, that's St. Louis. You'll see Prep Sports STL is there. They pretty much repost everything I put up. STL Sports Talk, and then also the STL Today is our local newspaper. They actually redirected my attention to the STL Sports page, but that is a funnel underneath STL Today. So, anyways, platforming kids, getting your name brand out there, and really making Bayless, for me personally, a place that I didn't even know about in high school, but you're going to know about us as long as I'm here.
Yeah, and you mentioned there towards the end, you're tagging the news outlets, right? So now, because how many times as ADs or SIDs or even as coaches, have we gotten that text late at night from a news person saying, "Hey, what's your score?" or "What was the score?" Even if it wasn't at your your campus, right? I've gotten a text from a news guy that wants to cover a football game, and to put in their highlights for Friday Night Lights at the end of the night, and nobody's giving them a score, and it's not even at my campus, but he's shooting me a text. But if you're tagging all these people that cover your school and your area, then they're automatically getting all that information, and they're getting it from you, right? They're not getting it from a third party. They're not getting it from a parent. They're not, or maybe an admin that doesn't really know a lot of stuff that's going on. But it's not just on scores and updates, but if there's a game cancellation, or if there's a schedule change, and you've got news reporters or photographers or whoever that are supposed to come out to these events, if you tag them in that post saying, "Hey, the game got canceled, it's going to be tomorrow, or it's going to be 2 days from now all those people are aware of it, and you don't have to do the old school thing and get on the phone and call everybody and miss somebody, and somebody shows up at 7 o'clock and there's nobody else there."
And you made a really good point too. You might be texting you're at an away game, and again, not to dog on anybody else, but you and I had this conversation with the Border State Summit. Like, not that there are a lot of ADs out there who don't have the same level of excellence that you and I pursue. And again, everyone has a different standard, but for me, if I can make your job easier, and it might be harder in the short term, but in the long term, it's going to pay off. So,
oh yeah, because like I said, all they have to do is go to their notifications. If they know that my school is playing somewhere, it don't matter which sport. If they go to their notifications, there's going to be some type of tag in there saying, "Hey, here's our score, here's our update, here's our weather delay or whatever
Hmm.
the instance is." So yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people don't look into. And for those who don't know, if you look at its actual caption, the tag uh, accounts are not in the caption. You don't have to put at so and so in the actual caption. Most all the social media accounts now actually have a tag button.
Yep.
Now, some are limited, so you can only tag 10 or so. So you have to find your top 10 that you want to tag, but
Yep.
um, you can
20.
actually tag it. Yeah, so you can actually tag it. So when you're scrolling through, you don't see all those names. And with Twitter, it don't take up your caption or your words, right? Because if you start tagging everybody in the actual caption, you're gonna run out of words.
Yep.
And so it's
Which is
making sure.
why, which is why, quick plug, it's critical to do the box out image, because if you don't do an image, then you do have to use your characters and tag in the subject.
Correct. Yeah, because the tag goes along with the image.
Yep.
Um, so and again, so not only are you getting people to stop at your post and look at it, but you're also getting other people involved as well.
Yes, sir.
So you kind of touched a little bit on the emoji
Hmm.
aspect of it. Like I said, I know there's not a lot of like clocks and stadiums on this post, but you
Nope.
have your sirens and then you have your colors down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Why do you think that it's important for the emoji side versus just put, hey, there's a game day on Friday, September 8th, 7 o'clock, gates open at 6 or whatever. And instead of just putting out the words, putting an actual emoji picture with it.
Well, if you haven't, you and I both know that the images from Box Out, they really do pull you in. But if you are someone who maybe you've seen a lot of my stuff and you're bored with an image, I don't know, which I don't think is possible. You're not gonna. I mean, if I see those three red alert emojis, like whether it's an emergency or not, I'm stopping. It's the same reason why a fire truck drives by you, you pull over on the side of the road. It's the same reason that I don't care how long I've been driving, and I 33 years old and have a clean record. I still get nervous when I see a cop behind me. It's the same thing. So trying to get people's attention, man, that's it. And then also, I do think you can overdo emojis, because I think if you look at that post, you know what the house means, you know what the alert means, and you know that the bottom is the Broncos stuff. Um, there have been times in my career where it's like, you're tweeting or you're posting to an older audience maybe, and they literally can't decipher what you posted because that's not how they type. The flip side of that is, this is a great example. I was in the lunchroom yesterday doing principal duty, and I don't know if a kid meant to look over my shoulder, but I was texting my wife, and I set the three laughing, crying emojis, and they were like, "You're supposed to use skulls." And I was like, "What the heck does that mean?" And I was like, "I guess I'm not cool anymore." And so I personally will not be using skulls. I guess it means you're laughing so hard you're dead. I don't know, but from my perspective, it's keeping in touch with all generations that you're trying to reach, right? So like if you're getting someone's attention, like you said, man, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, you are reaching different age gaps with all those platforms. So I think that if you can consistently post it on there, it's an attention seeking piece in a good way, for one. And two, it just adds a little more life to your post, man. I mean, it's not, I think we all get tired of words, and I try not to be too wordy on my posts, but you'll see you have to read a little bit, even on this post, even if it's not a lot. And so again, it's just another aspect of, it all comes down to platforming our kids, man. And if it gets more views, then our kids are seeing more. And I mean, I can't tell you again. A kid comes up to you and says, "Hey, thanks for using my picture in the post." It's not that big of
Mhm.
a deal. It's worth it. Take the extra time to do it. And again, give your post more life, man.
Yeah. And two, going back to the not trying to overload it with a bunch of words, right? If you put a siren in there, that means attention. One, it's a picture versus a long word that says attention, and you're saving characters on
Yes.
Twitter, right? So now, you basically said attention 3 times, but it only took up 3 characters. So
Good point.
that's also a thing too. You can also get more information out if need be, by using that as well. So just kind of another example that you've used
Same thing.
for an announcement. Again, this one you actually tagged the Bayless schools and the state association in the uh, detailed graphic. And then
Yep.
again, you have your sirens at the top, and then your colors at the bottom.
Yep.
And then we didn't even touch on hashtags. Making sure that your hashtags are consistent with your mission and things.
Yeah, Bring the Stampede was a district mission that was kind of brought into the fold last year, and so I'm just carrying that on. It was effective, but the big point there, like you would probably allude to it, is if you're in Twitter and you click on a hashtag, it's going to show you every post that's ever used that hashtag. So once you use that hashtag, and again, I this is elementary for most of us, coaches, but if for those of you who don't know, if you click on that, you might like one of my posts. But like I have a great example. Actually, I should have shared this earlier. I had a prospective coach send me an email today. He's coaching in a different district here in St. Louis. He's wanting to get over closer to this area. He mentioned that he saw our stuff on Twitter and he would be interested in working for the school. Now, he didn't say hashtags, but I can guarantee you that there was something in one of those posts where if you click on that hashtag, you're going to see the whole product, and you can click and scroll and you can look at everything. And so, yeah, you're right, man. I don't know how we missed hashtags, but it just brings it all together. And to touch on what you said, this post didn't need to be too wordy, so I wasn't worried about characters, and I just wanted to directly put, Bayless Schools and Misha in it. And but again, you see there that is not a ton of words, and you're seeing a consistency in message with a great graphic, and it's getting your attention.
Yeah, and with the hashtags, making sure that it's unique to your school or your mission. Because again, if you would have just taken the Bayless out and just put hashtag all in, I can go ahead and tell you, one,
Clemson.
you're going to get Clemson stuff all over the place.
Yep.
And well, at least a couple of years ago when or 10 years ago when Dabo took over, he was the first one to kind of do all in, but now a lot of people are doing it. But
Yep.
yeah, a lot of posts are going to be of other schools and even maybe colleges that are using that slogan. But if
Yep.
you type in something that's more specific to your school, then that's like one of the schools I was at. Our motto was "Be the model," right? We wanted
Nice.
to be the model school, and whatever that was, whether it was academics, whether it was sports, whether it was the way we acted when we went on the road, different things like that. We wanted to be the models, so every hashtag was "Be the model."
Yep.
And I don't know if any other. I mean, there's probably somebody out there that uses it as well, but at the time, I didn't know of any other school out there that used that. So anytime, like you said, people clicked on that hashtag, it would bring it to our graphics, our stuff. There may be another schools here trickled in and there, but as much as I put out, my school was going to take over that hashtag anyway. So that's all good. So kind of moving off of the actual captions itself and into the graphics, you do something very unique that I've never even thought of, right? I'm a big social media guy. I'm big posting. Usually, I stay consistent with when I think of consistency, my game day, my starters, my score update, my player spotlight, that entire game uh graphic is going to look very similar. That way they know, okay, here's the game day graphic. The score update is going to be the very similar um graphic, so they know that score is attached to that original game day graphic.
Yep.
You kind of go a different step and put it where each sport has their own template.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will say this. I've got to give credit. I don't think she's a student here. She's a junior. Her name's Anessa. At Images by Anessa on Instagram. She is the one who provides me with these phenomenal photos. So I always also give her photo credit too. That absolutely adds to the life of the post. But I don't know, Freddie. I actually don't know how I landed on it. I think it might have just been one of those things where you know, I think I had a parent who actually I do know what happened in Clinton. I made a post for soccer, and I had a parent complaint that I didn't post about soccer that day. I had, but I didn't use the same graphic, and so the parent was complaining about a post that was out there. And so honestly, just full transparency, out of my frustration for small town issues where a mom can call you, and because your cell phone gets out to one, it gets out to all in a district like that. I just started using the exact same template. And there, so boys soccer has a different one, or had a different one, but then I used this one a couple times, had a couple compliments on it, and you can see there that this is a game from September 5th, September 7th, and August 31st. You have three different pictures that are used, so three different kids were platformed. One happened to pop into two, but overall, it's the same image. And just like you and I have talked about with the ease of box out, as long as you have the preloaded template of the opponent graphic, everything else is plug and play. And so I don't know if you want to go to the other two sports too, but soccer is one of them. This is an example of both volleyball and softball. Also, I don't know if you have had anything to do with this, but I think they improved the banner graphic that I use for volleyball because it used to be a little more blurry. Now it looks
Mhm.
like an intentional blurry. So that one look. And then softball, I gotta say, man, I've gotten the most compliments about that softball graphic. That's absolutely one of the favorites from at least from my fan base, which is cool. Also, too, the you have a in these images that is our home softball complex. I know we're not talking about this right now, but we have amazing facilities. So when you take pictures of game
Mhm.
day graphics live, I've had like my old softball coach in Clinton was like, "Holy crap, what a great field," you know. So, but yeah, to get back to the topic, last one I think. Who do you got on the last one? Is it tennis?
Well, it's just showing how
Oh
you,
yeah.
here's your score updates, but all
Yep.
your score updates are the same
Yep.
template for each sport.
Yep. So, anyways, I again, I do know how I got to that point. Unfortunately, it was out of frustration, but it solved a problem that I didn't know I had. So, and I also, Freddie, like you don't do it, I do. There is no, in my opinion, one way to get to your whatever your vision of success is. For
Mhm.
me, it works, and so I'm going to keep doing it. But also, if you talk like my buddy Jared Hunt, he's at Academy ISD. He is a mentor of mine. Something he talks about is not getting too caught up in your principles, like because you're consistently like if you're growing and changing, they might change too. And so like this is something that I'll evaluate every year, but it's working for me right now and I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, because I remember, when we first talked about this, like you said, it was, you want the football parents to be able when they're scrolling through and they see that graphic, like, oh, there's the football
Yep.
announcement, or score or whatever. There's the soccer, there's the volleyball, whatever, and so it makes those fan bases kind of search for that look.
Yep.
And it, again, doesn't mean you have to stay with that look the entire season. Maybe stay with it for a month or so, and then the next month you change to a different look.
Yep.
But I thought that was great for thinking outside the box. Again, that was one of the ones that I've never heard of keeping it consistent through sports. Like, 'cause I've kept it consistent all day,
Yep.
but that's also a very good strategy, and things like that. And I had something else that popped in the head, and that we have talked about earlier, and I just it totally left my brain. So, but is there anything else that you kind of want to touch on, with kind of your footprint, and what kind of that we haven't touched on that makes you think that your community likes that you're here, and like say what did that student like, right, that we haven't touched on, and because obviously something's working.
He just again, I think it's very telling because our enrollment here is like 538. So we are a 3A school in the city of St. Louis, which I think is pretty unique because we're in an area where us and Afton are both about the same size, but then you got Lindbergh, Oakville, Melville, and some major schools around us. And those schools that are around us, they're much bigger. And so to have a kid say, you sound like you're making us feel like one of those big schools. What that's really saying is that we feel special, important, and if just because we're smaller doesn't mean we don't deserve any less. So that again, I don't think I can get a bigger compliment than that, my man. It's all it comes down to when your kids feel important and special. So
Yeah, and I remember I was thinking you before we hit record on this thing, you were talking about how you actually like to schedule each sports a different hour or
yep.
every half hour. So everyone's not getting, if it's one of those nights, and we all know, you could have one night, and if you have 10 different sports in that season, there's one night that all 10 of those teams are playing on the exact same night. And
Yeah.
usually what I do is I schedule my post to post at 6 o'clock in the morning so everybody sees it when they wake up. But you were saying that you actually scatter them out, whether it's like 6 or then 6:30 and then 7:30, or even if it's by the hour. That way, each sport kind of gets their own time to post, and they don't get lost in the massive posting of everything.
Yeah, it's just to me, this seems it's probably very silly and minute, but in the bigger scheme of things, I post every 30 minutes or an hour for that. So just so that sport doesn't feel like it feels like they get their time, their due, their credit. And so I'll start my day at, for me, my images are ready and preloaded, but at 7 o'clock is when school starts. I'll post, and I also go in time order. So if a game's at 4 o'clock, that post gets posted first. Games at 4:30, that one goes at 8. Like today, we have tennis, volleyball, softball, football, and soccer all playing. We have a home football game, which is military appreciation night. And so today was the one day where I knew we had this webinar, and I have had some discipline today. So that's been fun. And so they did not go out in the way that I wanted. But if I would have done it like I normally do, it would have been 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But I do want them all out before lunch, because lunch, you know this too, that there are also prime hours of the day where people look at those things. So I want them posted either on that time or prior to that time, so when they go and look at our account, they can get caught up.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Like I say, yeah, I've always tried to get it out in the morning so the kids see it when they're waiting for school to start, and then like I said, definitely making sure it's out before lunch, because the kid, depending on your school's rules, right? Most kids are getting their phones out during lunch and scrolling through things. The parents are taking a break from work or whatever during lunch as well. So and then like I said, if you are tagging newspapers and things like that, then they're getting all the information they need earlier in the day to make any adjustments or whatever if they plan on coming to your event or anything. So no, I think this is good stuff. You know, hopefully those that are on the call and who listen to this later on YouTube, or when we put it out as a podcast as well, that you get some things out of it. I really appreciate Alex jumping on with us, and like we've kind of mentioned before, a lot of this is what's in our new Box Out U, and which Alex is one of our mentors for. So, and we're actually starting the branding handbook. Well, it's going to be this Sunday. This is September 8th today. So maybe when you've listened to it, the branding handbook when it's already started. But you still can jump in even if you come in a little late this time or this semester. But even we plan on doing it next semester as well. So sometime between March and May, we'll kind of do the same thing. So if you missed it this in the fall, then you'll be able to do it in the spring. But classes we actually dive into, and interactive classes, not like a webinar where you just hear two people speaking. There's not much interaction, but these are actually interactions, and we give you different goals to achieve, whether it's whichever class that you're in, to kind of bring it back and to help you, like you said, overall your student experience. So if that's something that you like, if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're on the webinar, you can scan that QR code at the bottom. If not, if you're listening to it just via audio, if you go to Box Out on Twitter, then you'd be able to find some information. You just have to find one of the posts that talks about the Box Out U. But again, for all those who jumped on, we appreciate you jumping on, and we'll let Alex kind of say his final thoughts and close us down, and after that, then we'll get to some games. Alex has got 5 games to deal with tonight, so we'll let him get on.
Yeah, just thank you for having me on, man. Thank you for friendship, and just looking forward to continue to working with you. And again, I'll always plug Box Out because I've experienced other things, and I won't name those other platforms, but Box Out's the best. And the cool thing, I will say this, Freddie, is that you're in South Carolina, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. Doesn't matter where you're at in the country. Quite frankly, you're gonna have a great experience using the platform, and the affordability. And really, again, if it's all coming down to doing what's best for kids, man, that's what we're going to use. And as long as Box Out is that top product, then I will be a loyal brand ambassador for it. So again, thanks for having me on, bud. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no worries. Again, if you want to reach out to myself, it's at ADFreddy on Twitter. Box Out is at Box Out Sports. And Alex's tags is his personal one is at the all in AD, and then his school one is at Bayless AD1.
Perfect.
Okay, so make sure you follow and see a bunch of the stuff that's going on.
Perfect. Thanks, brother.
All right, thank y'all. We'll see you next time.